November 14th, 2016. If someone invites you to be a part of history, what do you do? Every day, I do cool things. Well, at least I think they're cool. You might not see it that way. Either way, in today's fast-paced world, who remembers a single moment from a week or a month or a year ago, and so on? Today, I get to participate in an event that goes down in the books, written on the walls of history, like rebellious artists of old, painting a mural of defiant patriotism against those who would seek to deprive us of a right we were born with, written on our hearts. World records are not easy to come by. It takes planning, execution, and people willing to step up to the plate. We arrived at Ben Avery early enough to capture this footage of 1,000+ rifles being taken off the tractor trailer and logged into the NRA's supervision. Something amazing that my eyes have never seen before. We were also allowed to get a first look at the Golden Boys we were going to be shooting outside of their boxes. Thanks to Henry Repeating Arms, the NRA, and the Ben Avery shooting facility, I and over 1,000 other people got the chance to be a part of history.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. What a great day to be at Ben Avery Range. I want to welcome each and every one of you, especially for being here on behalf of Henry Repeating Arms, the 1,000-man shoot, presented to you by the NRA. You know, I'm stuttering around up here because I'm humbled to look out across this crowd.
Join with me in tipping my cap and saluting the National Rifle Association for helping to make this happen. Thank you. You know, there are not many venues that can host a 1,000 shooters and accommodate a group like this. And so here we are at the Ben Avery shooting facility, one of Phoenix's points of pride, and we know why. Look at this great facility. They stepped up to the plate. They helped us make it happen. So I would like to thank the Arizona Game and Fish who operate this facility, Director Larry Voiles, who's here with us today. A special thank you to Matt Schwarzkopf and the entire Ben Avery staff. So let's give them a round of applause.
What's our instrument of freedom for this 1,000-man shoot? The Henry Golden Boy Silver Rifle, in the most popular caliber on the planet, .22 LR. Configured with octagon barrel, American walnut stock, and fully adjustable sights. The receiver cover polished to a mirror finish you can shave in. With matching barrel band and butt plate, the rifle comes custom with a 1,000-man shoot commemorative logo and Allen case, making it one of a kind, or 1 in 1,000. As the moment arrives, a few thoughts circle through my mind. One, I'm proud to be amongst these folks. These good, dyed-in-the-wool American patriots, my people. Two, I'm also proud of Henry Repeating Arms, not just because of the fine firearms they make. I'm proud of them for getting it, getting that guns are more than just metal and wood, more than just laws and elections. Guns are about family and freedom.
Take aim. Fire. Place the rifles back on the tables in front of you with muzzles pointed down range.
That was awesome.
That was pretty good from up here, guys. That was very good.
Yeah! Cool. That was awesome. That sound after it. I know, that echoing off the mountain.
Shooters, for your second shot, pick up and shoulder your rifles. Move the lever completely forward. Move the lever completely back. Shooters ready. Take aim. Fire.
Nice.
Shooters with the rifles pointed downrange, place the rifle on the table in front of you and direct your attention downrange center.
Here we go.
To all shooters, range officers, and attendees, you are now a part of history by participating in the Henry Repeating Arms 1,000-man shoot presented by the Lola National Rifle Association.
Yeah.
One last round of applause for today's successful record-setting event. Thank you for your participation. The support of Henry Repeating Arms, Winchester Ammunition, Pyromex, Baron Engraving, Ben Avery Range and its staff, U.S. Chemical and Auto Targets for their fantastic final display. Shooters, shuttles are positioned near the entrances of the range to return you to the parking lot. Please proceed to the exit and get home safely. Thank you again.
That's it. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Good job, man.
Overall, I think today was a huge success. It was awesome having everybody out here to show their support for our company, for the country, for the Second Amendment, and just, you know, the sense of camaraderie of everybody kind of standing around before the actual shoot was taking place, talking about, you know, where they're from, and, you know, they got their families out there and stuff like that. That was really great to see.
Made in America or not made at all? One of the many people at Henry Repeating Arms that stands behind that hallowed mantra is their president, Mr. Anthony Imperato. And he took the time to talk to us about why this event is so important for them to do right now.
The Henry 1,000-man shoot was actually conceived in the summer of 2015 at NRA headquarters. Light bulb went off in my head that I wanted us to put something together that was going to be patriotic, show a sense of unity and community, unwavering support for the Second Amendment. And as the idea was formulating, I realized we were approaching a very important election year. And the way I've always felt is whether we have a pro-Second Amendment president or not, we should never give up the fight for our freedoms and our traditions. So hence we gave birth to the Henry 1,000-man shoot, and we were fortunate enough to align ourselves with the National Rifle Association, who had the wherewithal and the logistics to pull it off. In addition, it's not very easy to find a facility that could accommodate 1,000 shooters, several hundred range safety officers, and spectators. And the Ben Avery shooting facility in Anthem, Arizona, stepped up to the plate with an incredible staff that made this happen. We couldn't have done it without them. So it was a very emotional event. Very proud that after 40 years in this industry, that I can consider this a milestone and something that I'm extremely proud of. And I also felt a sense of this is the real America as we stood out there shoulder to shoulder, every nationality, every creed and color, men and women, from every single state in the country. This is what it's all about. This is the real America, and I'm happy that Henry Repeating Arms was able to put this Henry 1,000-man shoot together.
I think when the folks at Henry began floating the idea of having this event just 1 week before what we realized would be such a monumentous presidential election race, The NRA were the first ones to raise their hand and second that motion, pun intended, for such an important statement on liberty in our country.
About a year ago, the president and CEO of Henry Repeating Arms, Anthony Imperato, was in a meeting with NRA staff members and came to us with a vision of this 1,000-man shoot. He wanted to create a spectacle. He wanted to create something that would make a lasting impact on the shooting sports community, a place for Americans from all backgrounds that appreciated and loved their Second Amendment rights to come together in a sense of a family reunion. He couldn't have come to a better organization because the National Rifle Association is the foremost organization in providing the support to an event of this caliber, pun intended. So over the next couple of months, we put together the logistics, and it was an immense undertaking finding a facility that could host an event of this scale. And for on the record, Ben Avery Shooting Facility is one of the foremost shooting facilities in the United States and have provided outstanding support to us from day one. Without their support, none of this would be possible. But there were so many moving pieces and parts that had to go into making this event a success. And throughout all of it, we had Mr. Imperato's blessings and his support, and we made it happen as witnessed here today. This event is one that's going to be remembered for a long time, and I look forward to seeing what comes next for us. What are we going to be able to do to raise the bar? What's the next step after an event of this magnitude? Because it far exceeded all of our expectations throughout all the planning. When we finally got 1,000 shooters out into the range today and went through the commands and had 1,000 of those Golden Boy silver rifles go off at the same time, it was such an immense feeling. And it's a feeling that I think the Second Amendment community, the gun rights community in this country genuinely needed after such a divisive election cycle. When Mr. Imperato planned this event, we wanted to host this after the election. And part of it was because we wanted the nation to start to get back to normal, back to business after an election that we fully expected to be one that was very divisive, and it delivered. But we also knew that it was going to go one of two ways. It was either going to be an event in which the gun rights community had to pick itself off the ground, dust themselves off, get back on the horse, and get back to work in defending the Second Amendment. Or it was going to be somewhat of a victory party because we knew we had elected a president who was going to be a steadfast defender of the Second Amendment. Fortunately for all of us involved today, it's the latter. Like-minded people here to enjoy an afternoon setting a world record. That's not an experience that you can truly get anywhere else. And we're fortunate at the National Rifle Association to have been able to work so closely with so many great partners, from Winchester to Henry Repeating Arms to the Barron folks who put that beautiful engraving on the firearms that were used in the participation today, PRMX who provided the eyes and ears for today's event. Without the support of everyone involved, from the volunteers that came from across the country to serve as range safety officers, to the folks who just came down to help us set up, this could not have been completed without complete buy-in from so many people from across this nation. And it showed in the event today. There were so many smiles on faces, and I personally haven't seen that kind of response from the gun community in a long time because of where we have been as a nation, politically, in legislation. This really did feel like coming out of the darkness into a new dawn in this country. And I can't think of another event that would be a better way to introduce us into a new age in the United States, particularly for the Second Amendment and gun rights enthusiasts, than this 1,000-man shoot. It truly delivered on all the expectations, exceeded them even, that we had going into this event. And I am really going to have to ask Anthony what the next step is, because this set the bar extremely high. We're all extremely pleased that it turned out this way, and just to be able to talk to the folks that were on the firing line and able to watch the event after that was done, to hear the reaction, to get their opinions about it, it was just such an amazing time. And I think generally everyone involved needed this event. They needed that feeling. They needed a feeling of family and togetherness and acceptance and community. And that's what the gun community is. That's what the gun culture is. And that, I think, it's so often lost in mainstream media. That's not the story. If you turn on your local news, your national news program, that's not the narrative you hear. But that's exactly what happened here today. And I know that Mr. Imperato intended that fully to be on display in this event, and it did not fail, because this was truly the perfect representation of what the Second Amendment community is in the United States and what it's always been. And the future is bright for us, the future is bright for the National Rifle Association, and the future is bright for this nation. And this was a great way to kick off a new dawn.
This is Hank Strange, and I'm happy to report that on November 14th, 2016, we let freedom reign.